What about you? 2013 Audi A4, 125,000 miles in the clock. Noisy wheel bar. Okay, well, clearly we've got the wheel off. First thing I'm going to do before do anything else, for a start, is I've jammed the disc in. And this is a 19 hex. So we're going to put that in, and we're going to loosen it off for a breaker bar. There we go. And while we're here, while that's jammed, we'll just loosen this wee Torx for the disc. Right, okay, that's us. We'll take the spring clip out and get the caliper off and get her hung up. Okay, with the caliper hung up out of the way, we'll take this carrier bracket off here. And then we'll take our disc off. I'll just spin this bolt out that we're already loosened up. The axle's moving nicely. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of this back plate here. So there's a few Torx screws here. Just screw them out. Okay, with the back plate off, and we can see these are held in with screws from the back. There are bolts from the back there. So there's none there, there's none there. So there's two at the top there, two at the bottom, and I've disconnected the wheel speed sensor. So these are triple square, M-tail triple square. So that's a view from the back, and we'll have these boys here, and these will go in at the top, and we'll just have to turn the steering left and right to get these in, get these to fit when they're at the bottom. There, like that, but I can't get a ratchet on it because of that. But that's okay, we just turn the steering wheel in the opposite direction. I have this shorter one here, and that might do. So that's with the CV joint pushed out more or less as much it'll go, but that should get us there. There is an awkward one at the bottom there, but you can't get it with an extension bar through the suspension components there, and so we'll just take them out nice and diagonally, and one at a time. So with all four removed, then that's in there. So triple square is, if you imagine 3 squares, so 12 sides. So that's an M12. So that's all those out. That bottom one can be a wee bit of a curse getting just past the lower ball joint, but it does come out, you know, bit of a wiggle. And we'll just get a soft wire brush. We'll give this a clean up. So this next bit, then, this is probably the bit that people, I think, would struggle with the most, and it's getting this thing off this hub. This is going to be corroded in. This is steel, this is aluminium. So this is going to be corroded in, and it's going to be really, really tight. So you see guys now, they put slide hammers on this and they try and draw this and all that sort of jazz. I don't really use slide hammers an awful lot. That, you know, you're trying to pull all that force with a slide hammer, and you'll probably just pull the hub out doing that. Now, the burn that I have with this is just the burn. It's not with the hub. So I'm going to reuse this hub. So I'm going to have a lot of respect for this hub. Now, what I usually do in these type of burns that come with the hub and all on it is I put a bit of angle iron and bolt it on to one of the bolt holes and use that as a lever, and I can swing it around and give it a good old whack there. You can see all my marks. So I give it a good old blattering, and that gets it moving, that gets the thing off. But I'm not going to do that in this case because I don't want to damage this hub, and I don't want to run the risk of damaging any of the threads. So we're going to do something a wee bit different. Right, so that's a burn off. Took a bit of persuading now, and most of the collateral damage, well, all the collateral damage, is on the hub there, the bit that's being scrapped. So we're going to reuse this bit, and we can see here that is totally goosed, and yeah, a lot of movement in that. So with that bit of shaking about, and that's loosened that up to where it was. We couldn't really feel any movement on the wheel when we had it up in the air, but definitely that. You can see that moving about. So we need to get all that cleaned up. It's pretty corroded as they are. That's so the aluminium on the steel interface. There's a lot of corrosion there, and in these pieces here. So we need to get all that. A wee bit of a file as well, maybe, just to make sure they're flat. So and then we need to go up to the press for this baby here. So a bit of 60 grit, and we're going to go around it like that, and I'm going to lift that out of the way. And we've kept our wheel sensor in here, as you notice, so we need to have a bit of respect for that, and then we'll give that a surface a good go in there as well. I'll give that a blow of their line, and then we'll have to clean the splines up. Right, we're up on the press, and we need to retrieve our hub. So we've got our setup there, and so the flange is supported each side there, and we're Gonna give her a go here. Shouldn't be a problem coming out. There she's moving. Lovely. There she goes. Bit of a bang. Right, next thing to do is get this inner race off this hub. 99 times out of 100 they stay on, and in fact nearly always stay on. So this is the method that I use pretty much all the time. There's a couple of ways of getting this inner race off, and sometimes, well, people, they would grind this, you know, and so it sort of cracks and then chisel it off. And you know, if you have oxyacetylene or propane, let's in my hand, you know, you can heat it up till it expands and it'll drop off. But while I'm at the press, this I just use this separator here. So it's clamped on, and there's usually a wee lip in there. It's just in there. There's a wee lip, and that catches on. Now this hub's quite big here, and this doesn't fit just the best. But I've got her good and tight here on the nuts, and we'll get her in the press, and we'll see how we go. We'll use the same wee cup that we're using, and we'll set that on there. Support this either side, and we'll give it a go. Okay, that's our setup, and I think she's ready to go there. So it seems to have clamped alright to it. Just a wee thing to note, if you are going to use this sort of method, if you're going to use one of these splitters, you want to support it this way. You don't want to support it, put these plates on at either side, because you'll just bend these then, you know. So I see a lot of people doing that, and they maybe don't realise that they're eventually they'll bend these, and so it's just a wee bit of thought into what way that sits in there. So we'll give this a scoot here, and there she's coming nicely, and I think the camera's shaking about a wee bit, but get you in on that a wee bit. Oh yes, there she's coming. No dramas at all. Oh, apart from that drama, there she goes. Okie doke. Well, let's see what that looks like. Get that bit of metal off. Get that. That's out of you know, the kit that you know, you put threaded bars in for, you know, for pulling. That's they're really handy for this, all the different sizes. And there we are. That's the inner race. So we don't need that. Get that out of the way. And there's our hub. So we'll give that a wee dress up. You see this hub's stepped here. So if you did grind that, you need to watch for that stepped hub there. So yeah. Okie doke. So that's our hub in the press, ready to go. Give it a wee bit of just a rub of the cloth really, and there's a wee taste of you know, burn grease. We smear burn grease on just to help it. So this is our new burn. This is the way you get it. So you get it with 4 new bolts, and you get it with a new centre bolt. And as I said at the start, you can get these made up with the hub and all, but you know, the common one is this. So we have, with all these type of burns, we have a magnetic ring on one side for the ABS pickup, and then nothing on the other side. So you can clearly see that that's brown, and you know, a wee paper clip will stick to it. Or if you have some of this here, carry on here, you can see the segments there. So that's your ABS side. So maybe seem quite obvious this, but you know, this is dead easy. If I put that on that way, you know, I need a ban or a burn, so it has to go on this way. So we're going to put that in the position. Then it goes on a good bit of the way. It really is only caught with that step that I showed you earlier. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to press this from the inside here. So I like to do it so that I can see that the cup that I'm going to use isn't touching this magnetic ring. So if you have something on this magnetic ring, or you decide to press it from the outside, you rack a burn. So you need to press it from the inner, and make sure that you're not touching that the segments there, the pickup. Otherwise, that's that scrap, and you'll end up having to go and buy another one, start again. So you don't want to do that. So I have a cup here that I can see is not going to touch the magnetic ring, which is a wee bit wobbly about there at the minute. So we'll just have to take her in nice and easy at the start. So there we go. I've brought the press down onto it there, so there's hardly any tension on it at the minute, but it's just sitting there in position, and I can check that I'm not touching the magnetic ring here. So we can see here, right round, that we're not touching it at all. So pretty happy to proceed with that. Here we go. Contact! So there's not much pressure required here at all. We're on the wee lip now. We're on the second stage of it. And there she goes. Perfect. Right, so now that our hub's made up and ready to go on, I'll just show you what I did. Well, we give this a bit of a dressing up, a bit of a fade, these faces, and there's a bit of burn grease in there just to help this in. Now, whatever you don't use copper grease in here, because if copper grease gets onto the ABS sensor, you're going to get ABS problems. Ordinary burn grease is fine. The petroleum-based stuff, the yellow stuff. And the other wee thing I'm going to tell you is you want to get into here, into this corner here. So this is what I use as the back end of a fade, the rat tail bit of a fade. And you go around that, and you be extra careful over at the sensor. Okay, we haven't taken this sensor out. The reason being is you'll probably break that if you try to get that out. So you just have to have the utmost respect for it, as I said before. And this will go on. So it goes on any orientation. Obviously the holes have to line up. The other thing is the method that I use for taking that off, which is fine. If you may actually sort of oval these holes here a wee bit with the amount of forces that's going on. So you just need to make sure, just check that your bolts are going to go in into all the holes. They're all nice and round. But this type of corrosion, guys, just in case you're wondering, that's pretty that's pretty normal. So it's this wheel burn is held in this recess. These faces are what you're wanting to do is making sure that there's no proud points, there's no high points, so that that'll affect the angle of the wheel. So if you do see corrosion here, don't be too concerned about it or any marks, but it needs to be nice and flat. So I just give it a wee dress up with a fade, and as I say, in around here, scraped all that aluminium oxide off. There's quite a lot, and then blew it all out with an air gun. So we're going to offer our wheel burn up here. Hold the shaft and get her lined up with the splines. And get her on. Hopefully. So you sort of need two hands to do this, and we'll get a bolt in from the back and get her started up. So you get I forgot to mention this, you get 4 brand new bolts in these kits. So that's the triple square. These are stretch bolts. So you need to use these. So these will have a torque, and then I think it's 90 degrees. And whenever we get these started up, we'll get them torqued. At the minute, I'm just leaving the CV boot or CV joint there just loose. It's not in the splines as yet, so you'll not really get it married up until you get this in a wee bit. You need to keep that loose anyway to get these bolts in and to get at them. So we'll sort of have to line those splines up at the end, you know, when we get this center bolt in. So we'll get these bolts in and we'll get a tighten on them. So with all 4 bolts run in then, we're going to torque them 80 Newton meters plus 90 degrees. These bolts are, so we're going to do in a diagonal fashion. So we're going to do this top right one first, and then we'll do the bottom left and continue on like that. So 80 Newton meters here first of all. There we go. So a wee beep there tells us with the electronic torque wrench here. So we'll continue on with that, and then we'll mark them with tip axe at a 12 o'clock and a 3 o'clock position, and we'll get that extra turn on them. And that's the 90 degrees put on them there. So our wee marks, don't know if you can see that or not. So you can just about see there. At this angle, it's a 9 o'clock position, and there's where it started at the 12. So you just go around them all with the extra 90 degrees, and there we go. So just a wee point to note there. If you have a spec with a torque setting, and I'll just move it out of the way here. If you have a specification with a torque setting in Newton meters or pound foot plus an angle, that is basically telling you that it's a stretch bolt. So if you see that specification, you need to change the bolt, and that's what I go on anyway. So with a wee bit of a wiggle and a jiggle at the back with our CV joint in and all our bolts tightened here, we're going to get our drive shaft back in again. Now these can be a wee bit of a curse, you know. These can be a wee bit tight, and your original bolt that came out, so it may not actually, you know, reach because it's too short. So here's a wee trick. I keep bolts out of all these CV axles. This is out of a different style. This is a hexagonal one. This is out of a Volkswagen. So when you change bearings, you know, you get a new bolt. And these older bolts, these other style of bolts, are a wee bit longer. So if you can get a bolt with the same thread, they're fine thread and they're big, and it's really only these sort of bolts. So you get that in there, and that's not the bolt we're going to use, but we're just using that as a draw bolt. So a wee bit longer on it there, and once obviously you need to make sure it's, you know, lined up on the splines, and we can get that a wee draw in, and that'll pull our shaft in for us. And then we will take that out again, and the bolt that we got with the bearing, which is the same style of bolt as that, with the whatever size that hex is, I can't remember, and we'll get that in, and we'll get it tightened. Tightening this bolt is really, really important, and I'll explain why. Right, so that's our new stretch bolt in. Yeah, it's not tightened at all, hardly, and you can clearly see I've put the disc back on and the brakes and all and stuff like that. ABS sensor clicked into place, and our back plate. So just to let you know, I used an FAG burn on this, and these cars, the A4s, the A5s and the A6s, they're all the same. This is all the same for those, and in this era of models, there actually is a bulletin for premature failure of these wheel bearings, and the fix is you change a wheel bearing. So you need to put a quality wheel bearing in. That bearing I use there is an OE manufacturer, so I'm quite happy to go with that. You know, there is quite a bit of work in it, and they do stick in, and they are known to fail. What did I say at the start? There's about 125,000 on this, and as you can see, the bearing was starting to separate. So yeah, it was making a hell of a groaning noise. You could feel the vibration through the car, and we had it up in the air. You spin the wheel, and you could hear it. So it was dead easy to diagnose. It may not have came up in camera at the very start, but you know, it's pretty obvious. So anyway, the importance of this bolt here. This bolt is 200 newton meters plus 180 degrees. So it's 200 newton meters plus a full half a turn. So as you saw whenever we press the burn in, there's a step on the hub, and you know, it sort of falls in most of the way, and then it only sort of presses in that final wee step. What the situation is with these type of burns is they're in two parts, or two clams, and it's actually the CV joint itself, the hub, the wee stub with the splines on it, that holds that burn together. So the torque in this bolt is what's clamping that burn in place. So it's bolted onto the hub, but the burn itself is clamped with this bolt. So new bolt, you get it in the kit, and you must torque this. Now, the way I do this, and people might do it differently and they might have a different view on it. The 200 newton meters, I'm going to do it now. So you don't want to put this car on the deck with this bolt loose. You'll rack the burn. So you need to have a bit of torque on it before you put it down. The final 180 degrees then, which I'm going to mark with the tip axe and, you know, let that go right round, is probably not achievable. I sort of know that before I even attempt it, but we'll get her around a good bit. We'll get her around to maybe about 5 o'clock or something. Now, I'm going to do that with the weight on the car. So you need to do that. There's some people would say maybe do it sort of, but it's sort of like a half and half situation. So I want to clamp this burn before I put the weight on the car, the weight on the burn. So if you put the weight of the car, it'll try and push that burn apart, and it'll wreck the burn. So and then for the thing to be held in position, you do that final turn, and that degree turn is the bolt stretching. That's the stretch you're putting on the bolt, which holds it in. So there's no thread locker on these threads or whatever. It's the stretch of the bolt that holds that in place and stops that from, loosening up. So that's the whole idea of that. So it's I can't stress enough how crucial it is. You don't just run this up with an impact gun and you say, "Way you go, that's it, great stuff, stick a wheel on, happy days." There you are for another wee while. And whenever your burn fails prematurely, you go, "Oh, them burns are rubbish that car parts man's selling me." So it's all about the installation. You can destroy a burn dead easy if you don't know what you're doing, and that's the whole point of this video. It's mostly nuts and bolts. It didn't show doing the brakes and taking the caliper off. That's run of the mill sort of stuff. I'm not going to show you that. There's loads of videos on the channel here. I'll show you how to do that, and it's pretty straightforward. But it's the reason why you're doing these things. That's the key. So I'm gonna torque this. This is held in place with a wee cheap screwdriver thing that I'd like to do. And so 200 newton meters first of all, and then we'll try and get half a turn on with the car on the ground. Handbrake on. It'll still be on the ramp. So it'll still be on the ramp a wee bit, but to hold the car. But that's what you want to do. There we go, 200. So while we're here, we're going to mark it. So I like to put a wee start point on it here, and there's our 12 o'clock position. Okay, and there is where we'll want to go to. Let's see if we can get a wee dab in there, like that. And so that's 180 degrees, right round. So we're going to push this wee centre cap out, just like that. I've changed the 3/4 inch breaker bar with a 3/4 to half inch adapter. So I don't think I'll get much more in this, but I'm going to give it another wee go here. Alright, I think that's as much as I dare. Okay, so where are we? We're about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, something like that. That's about as much as you get on them. That's pretty normal. So if you're going to try and torque these and you wonder why you can't get it the whole way around, well, that's a bit typical. So I'm happy enough with that. So the wheel nuts are tightened. I tightened the wheel nuts before I did that because you want the wheel on the ground is holding that, so you want everything tight before you do that. So just one last wee thing to do. Stick that back in again. That's that, and put his wheel nut trims on there. So that's it, guys. That's a wheel bearing in an Audi A4, A5, A6. All the same, this era. Very common problem. And yeah, so use a good bearing. Get a Volkswagen one or an Audi one if you want. That one there I got was about half price as the dealer price. But that is an OE manufacturer. So I'm quite happy with that. And the owner knows the make that I got and stuff like that, so he's quite happy with that. So there you go. That's it for this one. That's about wraps it up. So hopefully you got a wee bit of info out of that, and a wee bit more on. There's a wee bit more to than meets the eye, for sure. So thanks for watching as ever. All the best, and bye bye.